The government, for its first time, uses the Building Management Ordinance to dissolve the Owners' Committee of the blaze-hit Wang Fuk Court and appoints an administrator. Fallen firefighter Ho Wai-ho rests in Gallant Garden after full-honored funeral procession as Hongkongers pay final tribute. And 5 people are arrested for stealing $1.8 million from MPF account holders. Good evening. You're watching Cable News. I'm Jeremy Chu. The government has asked the Lands Tribunal for permission to dissolve the committee managing the owners' corporation of Wong Fuk Court and appoint a property management firm under Chinachem Group as the temporary administrator to help homeowners handle post-fire affairs. Jamie Liu reports.
Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs Alice Mack said the move aimed to help homeowners handle massive and complicated procedures such as legal and accounting matters.
This act will help the owners to get professional assistance when they decide how to execute or how to make a decision for Wong Fuk Court.
Mack stressed that the action will not take away the homeowners' rights to make decisions, and the Lands Tribunal will hear the views of the current management committee. If approved, a subsidiary of Chinachem Group, Hop On Management Company Limited, will take over as administrator on a pro bono basis and will have to submit monthly reports to the government. Mack added that the Lina Wang charity trustee had agreed to contribute $5 million to cover the professional and procurement costs. The action marked the first time the government has used the Building Management Ordinance to dissolve a management committee and appoint an administrator. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
The Fire Services Department held an official funeral with full honors for fallen firefighter Ho Wai-ho, who died tackling the deadly type of blaze. His coffin was escorted past the fire site and the fire station he had served before being laid to rest in the cemetery at Gallant Garden. Jamie Liu reports.
Draped with the SAR flag, Ho's coffin was transferred from the funeral home to a fire truck turned hearse. Ho's helmet was handed over to the colleague leading the procession. The hearse then received a salute from fellow firefighters and was seen off by Chief Executive John Lee and other top government officials. The cortege arrived at Wong Fuk Court, where the 37-year-old carried out his final duty. A flower plate was placed in front of the hearse for district dignitaries to pay their respects, including Tai Po District Officer Eunice Chen. The hearse later stopped by Sha Tin Fire Station, where Ho had served. Fire Services Director Andy Yeung led his fellow firefighters in a salute. Four chimes of the fire bell, 3 short rings and 1 long, rang across the station, symbolically relieving Ho of his duties. At last, the hearse arrived at Gallant Garden in Wo Hop Shek Cemetery. With Ho's helmet carried at the front, his colleagues, acting as pallbearers, brought the coffin to the burial site, followed by his family members. As the helmet was placed on the coffin, the fallen firefighter received a final salute from his colleagues before being laid to rest. His family members wept as the coffin was lowered into the ground. Ho was among the first group of firefighters dispatched on November 26 to the Wang Fuk Court blaze, which became one of Hong Kong's deadliest disasters. After his death, the Fire Services Department awarded him the title of Senior Fireman in recognition of his heroic and fearless dedication in confronting the fire. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Meanwhile, many residents have spontaneously gathered to pay their final respects to the late firefighter who lost his life in the line of duty. A steady stream of residents laid flowers at the public tribute area outside Hong Kong's Universal Funeral Parlor to express their gratitude and condolences. The exterior wall of the memorial hall has been covered with heartfelt cards and drawings from children, thanking fallen hero Ho Wai-ho for protecting the community with his life. The funeral procession later traveled to Wong Fuk Court in Tai Po for a roadside memorial ceremony. Residents lined an overhead footbridge, holding flowers as the hearse passed below, while others bid farewell from a nearby park. More than 3 weeks after the fire, some residents still shed tears when looking toward the building that was once their home. As parents, we understand how heartbreaking it is to lose a child. We hope his family can find strength and peace in this difficult time, said this woman. Flat owners and tenants displaced by the Tai Po fire are set to receive rental and relocation aid from the government, a move that Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs Alice Mak believes could provide flexible transitional housing options. Evelyn Bai reports.
Starting next Monday, affected households will receive an annual rental subsidy of $150,000 each for 2 years, along with a one-off relocation grant of $50,000 for both owners and tenants. Taking to the airwaves, Tai Po District Councillor Lo Hu Fong said the subsidy was a timely assistance, noting that many residents have voiced concerns about the distance of their current temporary accommodation from Tai Po, which has disrupted their work and daily lives. The rental aid will enable them to move back to Tai Po. Speaking in the same program, Home and Youth Affairs Chief Alex Mak stated that this relocation grant will be the final cash assistance for tenants under the support fund for Wong Fuk Court in Tai Po. But the government will continue to provide social welfare and medical support to those in need. She explained that the $150,000 subsidy is equivalent to about $12,000 per month, similar to rental levels in Tai Po and Wong Fuk Court, addressing concerns about potential upward rent in the private market. Mak said the market will still fluctuate regardless of how much aid is set. The government is exercising caution when using the fund to ensure the expenditure is used effectively and provides sustainable assistance, Mak added. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Police have dismantled a crime syndicate suspected of forging identity cards and impersonating victims to withdraw mandatory Provident Fund savings. 5 men were arrested on charges of conspiracy to defraud and money laundering. They are accused of using fake identity cards to set up eMPF accounts and illegally withdraw MPF funds. Personal data from 12 individuals was stolen in the case. 3 victims had approximately $1.8 million taken from their accounts. 6 other victims' information was used to open accounts, though no funds were withdrawn at this stage. The syndicate also recruited stooge accounts to launder nearly $78 million in suspected criminal proceeds. The Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority stated that the EMPF platform has suspended registrations via electronic identity verification while the investigation proceeds. Hong Kong will conduct a year-long population census next year, adopting a new framework with nearly 300,000 households being required to fill out a thorough questionnaire. Evelyn Bai tells us more.
Under a new survey format, data collection of the 2026 population census will be conducted throughout a year instead of the previous 1.5 months. In addition, active surveying will be limited to a random sample of just 10% of households once every 5 years, rather than surveying the bulk of the population with short questionnaires every 10 years. The demographic structure data, such as birth and death records, will be compiled using data from the Immigration Department to improve accuracy. The Census and Statistics Department will also add specific questions to identify talent and imported labor admitted through various schemes. Residents are urged to stay alert to fraud.
We will issue notification letters in purple envelopes to about 10% of households in Hong Kong. We remind households to be aware of scamming activities. Households will not be required to provide in the census their Hong Kong ID card numbers or information about their bank accounts or credit cards.
When visiting households, census officers will wear a gray vest uniform and carry an enumerator identity card and a census officer certificate of identity issued by the CNSD. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Short video app TikTok has allegedly signed a deal to divest its U.S. entity to a joint venture controlled by American investors, including Oracle. Bess Leung reports.
The deal, set to close on January 22nd, would put an end to a years-long saga to ban the app unless its U.S. operation was sold. Citing sources, Bloomberg reported that TikTok has signed binding agreements with 3 companies, including Oracle, to form a joint venture for its U.S. operations. In an internal memo, Chief Executive Officer Zhou Ji-Chiu told employees that half of the joint venture will be owned by a group of investors, including Oracle, Silver Lake, and the Emirati investment firm MGX. Under the agreement, Oracle, Silver Lake, and Abu Dhabi-based MGX will hold 15% each and collectively hold 50% with other U.S. investors. TikTok's Chinese parent, ByteDance, will retain 19.9% of the business, while another 30.1% will be held by affiliates of existing ByteDance investors. If finalized, the deal will remove a lingering issue in Beijing-Washington relations and signal progress in broader negotiations between the 2 countries, which were battered by trade and other issues. Under former U.S. President Joe Biden's administration, the Congress passed a law to ban the app over national security concerns unless it was sold. TikTok has temporarily suspended its U.S. service in January as the law was set to go into effect by then. But the deadline was pushed back multiple times by current U.S. President Donald Trump while his administration worked out a deal to transfer ownership. Bess Leung, Cable News.
Australian police have arrested 7 men in southwest Sydney on suspicion of holding extremist Islamist ideologies. Meanwhile, the country will hold a National Day of Reflection this coming Sunday to honor the victims of the Bondi Beach mass shooting. According to a police spokesman, the individuals arrested carried knives but no firearms. They were believed to have an ideological connection to the Bondi Beach gunmen. There were indications they may have been planning to travel to Bondi Beach. The spokesman stressed that, in the wake of the Bondi terror attack, the police's tolerance for risk is extremely low, and they will not take any chances. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese confirmed authorities have declared Sunday, 21st of December, a day of reflection.
On Sunday, flags on all New South Wales and Australian government buildings will be flown at half-mast as a mark of respect for the lives lost and the grief shared across our nation.
Albanese encouraged the public to light candles and observe a moment of silence at 6:47 p.m., the time the attack began. He also announced a firearms buyback scheme to reduce the number of guns owned by the public. The program will be jointly funded by federal and state governments, with surrendered weapons to be destroyed by police. Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day up 192 points. Top active stocks of the day: Tencent was up $9, Alibaba was up $1.20, Xiaomi was up 34 cents, and CATL was up $11. Foreign exchange against the Hong Kong dollar: Japanese yen 49.47, Canadian dollar 5.64. On to the weather now. Cloudy periods and 1 or 2 light rain patches overnight, becoming fine and warm during the day. Temperatures will range between 20 to 25 degrees. That's our news tonight. I'm Jeremy Chu. Thanks for watching and good night.